Japanese intelligence believed Yorktown had been badly damaged and would not return quickly. The real question is not when Japan was hit, it is when the battle became impossible to save.
General quarters, enemy aircraft inbound. Dive bombers at 11 o'clock, protect the fleet. They're hitting the Akagi. Damage control teams, move out.
3 carriers would be left burning, but the 4th, Hiryu, was still able to fight.
The news is not good.
We've lost most of the fighters.
Prepare for the next phase.
While she began an ordinary morning, 4 carriers entered the most dangerous hours of their existence.
Japan entered Midway after 6 months of victories across the Pacific and Southeast Asia. Pearl Harbor had damaged the American battle line, while Japanese carrier aviation appeared dominant. Success created confidence that Japan could still choose where the next decisive battle would happen. Midway was designed to extend that control and destroy the American carriers that remained.
Operation MI aimed to attack and occupy Midway, then force the American fleet to respond. The carrier strike force moves in here.
The Japanese expected the Americans to appear after the island had already been struck and weakened. Carrier aircraft would hit Midway, while other forces approached from widely separated directions. The trap depended on timing, surprise, and an accurate picture of American carrier strength.
The forces near Midway are dangerously isolated. We must consolidate.
I agree. Move to support immediately.
Battleships and other groups were too far away to influence the carrier battle quickly. The 4 carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, carried the immediate striking power. If those 4 ships lost control of the air, the rest of the plan could not continue. Shokaku and Zuikaku were absent after the Battle of the Coral Sea.
One needed repairs, while the other lacked enough trained aircraft and crews for the operation.
That left Nagumo with 4 carriers, instead of the 6 used at Pearl Harbor. Japan still held a strong force, but it had less depth than its recent victories suggested.
The crew worked day and night, pushing the timeline.
Check the port side mounts, secure the line.
All right, engines on. Full ahead, Pearl Harbor, we are leaving. Japan expected fewer American carriers than were actually waiting near Midway. Visual. Animate directly from the lock.
The trap was built for an enemy whose strength had already been misjudged. Yorktown returned. American codebreakers had identified Midway as Japan's objective before the attack began.
Japan planned to discover the American fleet after attacking Midway. VO decoded messages reveal Nimitz strategy. Task forces. Instead, the Americans were already waiting inside the trap. Around 0430 local Midway time, Japanese aircraft began launching toward the island. The first wave included a total of 108 aircraft formed the opening strike under Lieutenant Joichi Tomonaga. Fighters, dive bombers, and level bombers rose from 4 decks into the pre-dawn sky. A reserve remained aboard the carriers in case American ships were discovered.
Launch the first wave!
The reserve was not one uniform group sitting ready on the flight decks.
Aircraft had different weapons, readiness states, and positions inside the carriers, awaiting launch.
Chalk's clear. Check your lines. Take them up tight. Engines running clear.
Carrier operations were a moving cycle, not a single button Nagumo could press. Japanese scout aircraft were sent across wide sectors to look for American ships. The search relied heavily on float planes launched from cruisers and battleships.
The Japanese carriers lacked radar, comparable to the warning system supporting the American force.
That made timely visual scouting essential and vulnerable to weather, route, and reporting delays.
Kone's No. 4 scout launched late, a delay often blamed for the Japanese defeat.
But the delay was not the whole story, and an on-time flight might still have missed the Americans.
The larger problem involved search design, intelligence assumptions, and incomplete reports.
One scout did not lose Midway by itself. Tomonaga's strike reached Midway and met fighters and heavy anti-aircraft fire. Japanese aircraft damaged installations, fuel areas, and defensive positions across the atoll.
But the airfield remained usable, and Midway's striking power was not fully destroyed. The island had been hit hard, but it had not been neutralized. Midway still fought.
At Kure, Aiko began a normal morning with no access to operational news. She folded the postcard and placed it inside a small drawer.
The calm scene creates a contrast the people at home could not yet understand.
At sea, Tomonaga was about to send the message that changed Nagumo's morning.
Around 07 o'clock, Tomonaga reported that Midway required another attack.
Report indicates enemy defenses remain active. Confirmation received. Proceed with second wave launch orders. Nagumo still had no confirmed report of American carriers nearby. He pointed to the board.
The Admiral ordered reserve aircraft prepared for another strike on Midway.
All right, easy now. Steady, steady. Watch the tail. Push from here.
Much of this work occurred in the hangars, not on decks packed for immediate launch. Hangar crews moved torpedoes and bombs, careful weapon handling beneath the flight deck.
The order began a technical process that required time, people, and safe handling.
Enemy aircraft closing fast. Heavy anti-aircraft fire required. Bombers detected on the flank.
Chốt lại, phi cơ số 1 cất cánh, khẩn trương lên.
Rõ, cất cánh.
B-26 và TBF đang tới, mở khóa an toàn ngư lôi. Toàn bộ chiến đấu cơ vào đội hình đánh chặn.
They failed to score a decisive hit, but forced ships to maneuver and fighters to engage. The Japanese carriers had to fight while preparing for their next mission. Contact! Torpedo bombers approaching on the starboard flank.
Tone number 4, sir. Confirmed American ships at 0728. Unidentified contact. Check grid coordinates. Adjust the marker. Urgent. Confirm readiness state.
The first report did not clearly identify the force or confirm a carrier.
Nagumo now faced two possible targets, Midway and an unknown American surface group.
He needed better information before committing the reserve. The decision was not a comic sequence of changing his mind back and forth.
Weapons, fuel, aircraft positions, and deck cycles could not reverse instantly.
Landing operations are commencing immediately. Clear the deck of all non-essential equipment. Affirmative. Shots. Prepare for emergency recovery.
The carriers had to recover those crews before launching a new major strike. A carrier deck could not simultaneously recover a large returning strike and launch every reserve aircraft. Combat air patrol fighters also needed fuel, ammunition, launch space, and recovery opportunities.
Every new American attack forced more evasive turns and changed the operating rhythm.
Time was becoming the resource Nagumo could not replace. Around 0820, the scout reported that the American force appeared to include a carrier.
But the Midway strike still required recovery, and the reserve was not uniformly ready. American strike groups already flying across ocean toward Japanese force. By the time the target became clear, American carrier aircraft were already approaching.
Between Tomonaga's message and the American dive bombers, Nagumo faced overlapping operational demands.
Attack Midway again. Identify the ships, recover returning aircraft, maintain CAP, and prepare a counterstrike.
Each task made sense alone, but together they compressed the available time. The trap was not indecision. It was a carrier force forced to do too many things at once. American aircraft from Midway reached the Japanese formation in separate, uncoordinated groups.
B-26s, TBFs, dive bombers, and high-level bombers attacked from different directions and altitudes.
Yet each attack forced the Japanese carriers to turn, launch fighters, and interrupt deck work. Japanese Zero fighters and anti-aircraft guns destroyed or damaged many attacking aircraft.
Carrier crews watched bombs and torpedoes miss while their ships continued operating. From the decks, the defense appeared to be working.
That appearance encouraged the belief that the formation still controlled the battle. The defense holds.
One B-26 passed dangerously close to Akagi after releasing its torpedo.
Incoming! Take cover! Get down! He's too low! He missed! Everyone stay low! Status report!
The carrier maneuvered hard while fighters and guns responded. Visualize B-26 crossing low over Akagi deck. Sailors take... Every near miss consumed attention that should have supported the next strike cycle.
Tomonaga's aircraft returned with damage, wounded crews, and decreasing fuel.
Keep it clear! Keep it clear! Push it back! Get it in the hangar!
The recovery placed more fueled aircraft and vulnerable equipment inside the carriers. The fleet survived each attack while becoming more exposed to the next one. The early American attacks failed to place a decisive bomb or torpedo on a carrier.
But judging them only by direct hits misses their wider effect.
They disrupted operations, pulled fighters downward, and kept the formation maneuvering. A failed attack could still change the conditions for the attack behind it. A miss can still matter.
Every attack failed to sink a carrier. They consumed the one resource Nagumo could not replace: time.
American carrier groups were now closing from beyond the Japanese horizon. The most dangerous aircraft had not yet been seen. American TBD Devastator squadrons attacked the Japanese carriers in separate waves.
They flew low, slow, and without the coordinated support their doctrine expected.
Japanese fighters met them near the water with a major advantage. TBD Devastators approaching low over ocean, Japanese Zeros descending.
The losses were catastrophic, and no torpedo produced the decisive carrier hit.
The torpedo squadrons were not deliberately sent as bait for dive bombers. Their attacks were meant to damage or sink the Japanese carriers directly. Poor coordination and timing separated them from other American groups.
Their supporting effect emerged from the battle, not from a perfect plan. Not a deliberate distraction.
The low attacks drew many Japanese fighters toward the surface. Pilots chased torpedo bombers away from the carrier formation and across the water.
Combat air patrol became dispersed, low, and focused on the most visible threat.
Above them, cloud and altitude concealed a different danger. The fighters looked down. Japanese carriers continued radical evasive maneuvers to avoid torpedoes and bombs.
Those turns separated ships and disrupted the shared defensive picture. Observers concentrated on attacks near the surface.
The next American strike would arrive from the direction receiving the least attention. For almost an hour, the Japanese had defeated every direct attack against their carriers.
That success created a dangerous visual focus on the water below. American SBD Dauntless dive bombers were now searching from high altitude. The Japanese fighters were looking down. The next attack came from above.
Dive, dive, dive! Incoming from above! Fire!
They didn't see it coming.
Enterprise and Yorktown dive bombers reached the Japanese carrier force near the same critical moment. Their arrival involved intelligence, navigation, judgment, timing, and chance.
Below them, Japanese fighters were low, and carrier operations remained interrupted.
The attack window was brief, but the targets were exposed.
A large group of Enterprise dive bombers concentrated on Kaga.
One hit devastated the bridge area and disrupted leadership. Visualize SBDs diving on Kaga, deck impacts, bridge hit, hangar fire beginning.
Fires spread among fueled aircraft and weapons inside the hangar.
Only a small number of Enterprise bombers shifted toward Akagi.
A damaging hit near the central flight deck area ignited a chain of fires below. Akagi was not destroyed by dozens of bombs.
A limited number of hits reached the right places at the worst possible moment.
Yorktown's dive bombers attacked Soryu at nearly the same time. Multiple hits set fires across the carrier and crippled flight operations. Within minutes, 3 Japanese carriers were burning.
The strike force lost most of its offensive power before crews understood the full scale.
The Japanese flight decks were not packed with an entire counterstrike seconds from launch. Many strike aircraft remained below in the hangars, while fighters cycled on the decks. The enclosed hangars contained fueled aircraft, weapons, fuel lines, and maintenance activity. The danger came from the operating cycle, not a mythical 5-minute launch countdown. Bomb damage ignited aircraft, fuel, ammunition, and internal spaces.
Keep pushing, men! We have to contain this! Pressure's dropping! Maintain the line! Fire on the port side! Evacuate the hangar!
Japanese carrier design and the condition of the hangars made containment extremely difficult.
Set up the line, let's get that corner! Roger that, pushing up!
3 carriers were no longer capable of launching an effective strike.
Yet Hiryu had escaped the morning attack and remained operational.
He prepared a counterattack quickly.
For the Japanese, the battle still offered a path back. The 4th carrier.
Hiryu's first counterstrike used dive bombers against Yorktown. Bomb hits stopped the carrier and created fires visible from the air.
日本のパイロットたちはカビー、アメリカの空母に重大な損害を与えたと信じて帰化しました。
That assessment was reasonable from what they had seen.
Keep pushing water on that blaze. Move those planks over the side. Check the gun, is she clear? Welders, focus on that bulkhead. Keep working on that fitting. Roger that, hold steady. Readings are stabilizing.
This recovery would shape how the second Japanese strike interpreted its target.
The mission remains. Prepare for launch.
Roger, Captain. Launch sequence initiated.
The mission should not be turned into a romanticized propaganda scene. Only use authenticated archival material.
It was a calculated attack made under desperate operational conditions.
The second Japanese group found Yorktown moving and no longer covered by the same heavy smoke. Torpedo hits are confirmed.
They had good reason to believe it was another American carrier. Torpedoes struck Yorktown and forced the crew to abandon the ship.
Japan believed Hiryu had damaged 2 carriers when both attacks had hit the same one.
The Americans have lost 2 carriers. Prepare the strike force. Yes, sir. They will not reach our home islands.
The carrier began preparing another strike. American scouts spotting Hiryu below.
That belief explains the title. Not everyone thought victory was certain, but a path still appeared possible.
Then American scouts found the last Japanese carrier. Late in the afternoon, American aircraft located Hiryu.
They're closer now. Preparing for engagement. To your planes, hurry!
The Japanese Combat Air Patrol and defenses responded, but the warning time was short.
Around 17 o'clock, the dive bombers began their attack. 17 o'clock, Hiryu found.
The hangar below is burning. Focus your hoses this way. Move to the starboard side. We need more water here. She's taking on water. Keep fighting the fires.
The last operational Japanese carrier at Midway lost the ability to continue the air battle.
Damage control efforts continued into the night.
But the ship could not be saved.
Keep them moving. Fast! Stay clear of the rigging! Watch the net. Move carefully. Keep it steady. Watch your step. We're almost there. Maintain the tension. Let's get them aboard.
Japanese destroyers later used torpedoes after the carrier had been abandoned. All 4 Japanese fleet carriers committed to Midway were lost.
Japan abandoned the plan to occupy Midway and withdrew its surviving forces.
The public at home did not immediately learn the true scale of the defeat.
Aiko continued waiting beside her brother's postcard, without tactical reports or immediate certainty.
Next, Nagumo's 90-minute trap, the decisions between Tomonaga's message and the American dive bombers.